Hey, it's Greg Burdine, Pastor of Faith Baptist Church. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a good Wednesday, enjoying the week as we finish this last week of February. March will be this Sunday. So it's kind of good to get February out of the way because that old saying, March comes in like a lion, out like a lamb. I don't know. It doesn't always happen that way. But I do know that March, there is going to be a big change. By the end of March, probably we'll be seeing green grass, the birds coming back, a lot of things will change, and I am looking forward to that. I love springtime. Well, I want to share with you a Bible verse from this past Sunday when I talked about God's promises, God's certain promises. And we're going to look today on the fact that God does not change his promise. You know, we live in a world that, boy, man, aren't people changing all the time? You know, they make a promise. I've done that. I'm sure you have too. You've said, hey, I'll meet you there. And something comes up, traffic, you forgot. You hate to say it, a more important thing happened, and you broke your promise. You bent your promise. See, we had every intention, but we just couldn't fulfill all of that. God does not do that. When God makes a promise, that promise does not change, no matter how impossible it is. I want to read you one of the verses I read on Sunday. It's in Hebrews chapter 6, and an interesting word that I don't know that I've ever used it outside of reading the Bible. My vocabulary is pretty good, but this is not part of my everyday vocabulary. It's in Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 15. It says, wherein God, talking about what God does, God willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath. I love that. God more abundantly, big time. God big time wanted to show the people that heard his word that he meant business. And it says the immutability of his counsel. That word immutability, it means unchangeable. I think we all, have you ever heard of a mutation? You know, a form of an animal, it changes just a little bit. It mutates. God doesn't change. God is immutable. His plan, his purpose, his promise, it doesn't shift with mood. It doesn't shift with circumstances. It doesn't shift with us. I'm sure we've done this. Have you ever made a promise or intended to do something and then you turn around and somebody starts acting really bad or weird or wrong? You go, ooh, I'm not going to do that. God doesn't do that. We live in a world of broken commitments, shifting loyalties. They move and they go and they bounce back and forth. Contracts fail. People disappoint us. Situations change. But God's eternal purposes, God's will, God's plan, God's promise does not change. It is certain. And that's why it's good to have God in our life. Because, let's be honest, we don't always know what he's doing all the time. He's God. But we know that he's going to do it. So here's a good question to ask yourself today. Do you live as if God's promises are solid? Or they are tentative, you know? God is not like man. If God said it, he's going to do it. So sometimes we just, in our prayer, and sometimes when I pray, I'm not only talking to God, but I'm reminding myself. When I pray, I'm not telling God something he doesn't already know. You know, I say, God, you are so great. He is great. I'm not bestowing greatness on God. So here's a good prayer. God, you are unchanging. Help me rest in your steady, faithful plan. You're going to carry it out. Help me to have peace. It's going to be okay. It's kind of like, a surgeon and he says he's going to do something. He said, "Are you sure?" He say, "I know how to do this. Trust me. We're going to be okay." To the degree you trust the surgeon is the degree of peace that you have. Well, we have the great physician. We have God that has a plan and it will not fail. He will not make a mistake. And we just have that peace that he's going to take care of us. God bless you today as you